Hey, what's up everyone, I'm Louis, and tonight I want to talk to you about Rainbow Six Siege. It's actually coming out the 1st of December, and some of us were actually pretty lucky, and we're able to play some of this weekend on the open beta. So I just want to give you guys my point of view about this game and whether or not you should actually invest in this game that is actually coming out in a few days. Basically, if you haven't heard anything about it, basically Rainbow Six Siege is a tactical shooter that represents a bit like Counter-Strike. So basically you have two teams of 5 players, one team defending, the other team attacking, and there's an objective to defuse or to rescue or blah blah blah. Same kind of pattern, except everything else is different. For example, the game is ultimately very much tactical, way more tactical, I should say, than Counter-Strike. There's cover mechanics, breaching to be done, there is a lot of more equipment, there's some scouting, much more communication, there's barricading, so there's a lot of emphasis on really planning your move and doing a strategy to try to defend properly the objective or defending it, or basically just trying to shoot everyone in the face, making sure that you win this round. So Ubisoft is coming out rather big with this one. They were able to release it on the open beta, and now that we tried it, it's time to see if it's actually worth the amount of money that we're actually asking us for. The concept, like I say, it's a 5v5 competitive shooter. It is a lot more reliable upon the tactical aspect rather than the shooting skills. What I mean is, it makes a much more difference on how and when you play, rather than if you can aim properly and if you can land those shots. It's very easy to get down, one headshot, insta-kill, except on very big, powerful, armored SWAT and GIGN division. But otherwise, bullets are really damaging you in any part of the body. I actually got shot like through a door while passing, and I got like headshot instantly. And the person was just lucky, obviously, but it was, you know, amazing. They're really damaging. You have basically now a kind of leveling system. So Ubisoft in Rainbow Six Siege said, like, we want to make this competitive, but we also want to have some kind of, you know, reconnaissance amongst players to have this kind of feeling of progression. So now there's leveling up. You can actually unlock new characters that have special abilities and special weapons. That those weapons you can actually modify to improve, for example, your aim, to make them silence, to change the optics on it. So there is this kind of utility that you can unlock, and it's actually very nice, because I didn't felt, even as first level, that I was behind the curve, you know? I was playing with it, I was able to kill people, get those shots, win some round very easily, without telling myself that I should, you know, probably need a new gun or something like that. So the game so far, as I've seen, is pretty balanced. There is, by what I've heard, that the ballistic shield is actually not very balanced, that you can actually abuse it. But so far I've been quite lucky, I'd guess, because it hasn't been an issue in my 5-6 hours of gameplay. That being said, there is, however, some weird things. For example, you can defuse the bomb, if I may say, by basically being one different floor than the actual item itself. So I was basically with my team defending the objective in the garage, and the people were just like the attacking team were like at the main floor, and they just basically put the diffuser on this floor, and it was diffusing it even if it wasn't not even on the same floor. So I tried this on the other way, it didn't work, so I'm not exactly sure why. There's maybe something I still need to know. I mean, 5-6 hours to know about all the game, it's pretty tight. That being said, there is a lot to say about this game. For example, it's way slower than, for example, Battlefield, Call of Duty, and Counter-Strike. The movement, you know, it's very much more realistic than you can expect from other games. It's a lot more realistic on other aspects as well. Like I said, the damage, the environment, the kind of weapon you can bring. It's not made to basically run and shoot people up. It won't work. The approach is much more slow and a lot more tactical as well. And this is what essentially that is very interesting, because if you don't have any tactical approach to what you're going to do in each round, you're going to get yourself completely shattered. Gameplay style, it's really about covering good space, making sure that you can actually aim at the proper place and, you know, land shots when it really matters. But above all, team play here seems to be like the key and the gold to make this game and make you win those rounds. Which is actually, I felt pretty nice. Like when you win a round after your teammates is like, oh, I saw one there, or I saw an enemy at this camera, or I heard one. You know, like everyone is sensible to movement, and you can aim at proper position, and you can see your teammate through walls, which actually helps you positioning yourself on the map. So far I've played, I think, 3 different maps. They were very interesting. A house, I think I did this kind of a military base as well. Some weapon, actually, like you just shoot through windows and you might get lucky and shoot someone in the face. Sometimes it's rather weird. The map needs a bit of balance here, but so far they're very interesting. Like, for example, you can barricade yourself, you can put some items on the ground to slow down your enemy. It's very nice to feel like you can really manage your time and space to do something very efficient so that you can make your team much more valuable. So basically, each round you have 5 against 5. There's the team that's attacking have 30 seconds to deploy those little drones that you can actually move around and spot where the objective is, because the objective is not exactly at the same time every round. So it gives us some variety. So you have to adjust your game style. You have to very differentiate your approach. And by those 30 seconds, the defending team can put, like I said, some defenses, barricades, a bit more, some windows, some doors, with various apparel and various objects that you can actually have in your inventory. And then take position and just like coordinate how you're gonna defend this place. And the attacking team, after 30 seconds, they just go in, they have breaching charges, they can bring smoke grenades, there's EMPs, actually barbed wire that are being electrified to give some damage overall. So it's very nice. I like the aspect that this huge tactical aspect that we have never seen in games in the recent years, or at least I'm not aware of. It's really making a big difference. You can't really compare the gameplay style to, for example, like I said, Battlefield or Counter-Strike. However, there are some drawbacks. For example, at the price of $80 for the normal version and $120 for the gold version, I feel the game is kind of empty to modifying characters. I didn't saw anything for team and stuff like that. It really feels like a bare bone game with nice addition, like nice unlocking, like I said, some specific characters, a bit more weapons, some aesthetic, but other than that, it really is kind of bare bone. The weapons themselves are quite nice. I'd say like they are much more refined than other shooter. They really have some kickback, they really have some nice sounds, and you really can feel attached to a gun rather than others, so that's kind of nice. But overall, the few maps and the few characters and the progression, I'm not entirely sure it's worth this. I feel kind of it's almost as bare bone or even less than Battlefront, which is a big issue now. It's a lot of money we're talking here about. If I can say something, is that the gameplay is nice. I didn't felt like it was too clunky, too stiff, or too slow. I think I was in proper control. Everything I was doing, my headshots were landing properly, my movement were very fluid, and on this aspect there's nothing to say about. It's very good. Graphically, the game has nothing to really prove itself. I wasn't really impressed with it, but neither was it anything like ugly, or I didn't saw like some very shady texture. If anything, it's adequate. It runs rather really smoothly. I had everything on ultra and I had about 90 plus FPS, which is more than enough to play an FPS game. I didn't had any lag down. However, I had some connectivity issue. Sometimes I would just like be with another team, the countdown would just go down to 0 and then nothing would happen, or basically my team would search for another enemy party and we wouldn't find anyone. So I saw those issues. Still, it's the beta, so I won't bark much. I know they're still improving, and that's why they released it, to make sure that everything, the connectivity, were quite alright. I had a graphical glitches that I needed to update my graphic cards, and then it was resolved. But at first it was very weird. I had a very big glitch and texture problems. I'll try to show it to you in the small video. But other than that, really graphically, nothing too impressive, but it's doing Ubisoft Siege rather well. There's no problem here. It's gonna be plentiful for everyone. What actually I was most surprised is the sound. The sound quality is really amazing. Figuring it out that too much, but at first I was really surprised, like the movement you're doing, like you can hear your gear on you moving a bit around, like when you're moving even slowly, like you still do some sound. And when you're drawing a weapon, and there's a lot of environmental sound as well. Like for example, I was on 2 different floors, but just because an attacking team like put a charge on one of the doors and exploded it, I could actually hear like the walls moving and the items just like rumbling about. Like it's really immersive. The sound quality is really great, and even when you're moving around and there's some debris on the ground, they are doing noise. That's amazing. Like, and it has actually a tactical aspect, as you can hear people, you know, roaming around, and you can hear them walking on the floor above you or basically underneath you by the way they're speaking or the way they're shooting. So sound aspect, I have to say, I'm very pleased by it. There's no denying it that Ubisoft really put some emphasis on this. I think they got inspired by some Battlefield for the distance and the environment and the echoes and blah blah blah, but they really nailed it. Other than that, the problem I have with this game is, since it's Ubisoft, and let's be honest, Assassin's Creed Syndicate was kind of okay. It was actually pretty good, but like we had some very bad examples if we think about Watch Dogs and then Assassin's Creed Unity and stuff like that. And I'm wondering if Ubisoft will give the maps, the upgrades, the weapons freely after the game came out. Then there's also going to be a system of microtransaction, which I am afraid. They're saying it's all aesthetic, but they can go back on their word like Payday 2 did, which I am still afraid a bit of. And like I'm coming back to the price, $80. I mean, this game is all about teams. So to be honest, my word of advice is I like the game. If I couldn't give it a score right now as a beta, I would give it probably an 8 or even 8.5 out of 10. I really liked it. There's some things that could be made different, but obviously in this short amount of time, I was kind of impressed. I liked it really much. But the problem is, I don't think this kind of appeal will last until I play with like my real team, and I really feel part of a like breaching team and defending properly. Having this really precise communication comes at end. So if you're basically playing alone for most of the time, I would say wait until there is a Steam sale or something like that, or if EB Games or GameStop actually says, you know, we have a rebate on this, or there's a deal, whatever. At $80, there's no single player. Of what I've heard, there's like 2 modes. It's rescuing hostage and defusing bombs. It's really bearable. They're doing the gameplay great. The graphics are okay. The sound is amazing. But so far, I'd say keep your money in the pocket. I mean, there is, like, you know, this year massive games. There's Battlefront coming out. That has come out, sorry. There's Fallout 4 that just came out as well. Metal Gear, Witcher, Halo. There's plenty of options. So if really you are bored with all these games, I'd say $80. It's expensive. Play with some friends. That's really gonna make them difference. If not, then I'd say wait a bit. Get some rebates that are worth it, and then get the game. It's not bad by any standard. I was really afraid it was going to get some abuse, but so far I haven't seen anything really absurdly unbalanced. So yeah, so that was my advice, guys. So basically, if you like this video, just rate, comment, and subscribe. I'll try to have a bit more insight onto it, and if this Christmas I'm bored with Fallout 4 and my other games as well, such as Destiny and stuff like that, maybe I'll give it another try, do it a proper review. So that's it, guys. I'm Louis, and take care. Bye-bye.
Op 4 eliminated. Mission successful.